Hi guys, good evening. Tonight I will be discussing process costing. So, process costing, by the way, it is a method wherein the the company is uses a process costing system that traces the the cost of every product that is being produced. So, process costing is usually it is used for tracing a product na they are inidentical. Kumbaga papare-pareho yung product na pinoproduce. So, in process costing, meron tayong dalawang methods na ginagamit. We have the FIFO method, so the first in first out method, and the uh, weighted average method. So, in process costing also, we need to know uh, you should know on how to account the total units put into process and total units accounted for. So yung total units put into process, ito po yung composition po niya is beginning work in process plus units started in production. Kumbaga, ito yung started in production, ito yung mga units na bago lang inintroduce or binigay doon sa production department. Pang bago, hindi pa siya ginamit for production. So, yung we also know ano yung mga completed production. Completed production, ito yung mga units na natapos na. But in computing the equivalent units of production, ito yung how many units na ina-allocate doon o how many units ang natapos na pwedeng i-allocate yung cost. Let's say for example, if we are using first in first out method, yung completion production, it composed of beginning work in process at yung started in production units. So, we have to split it out magkano or ilan ba yung units from the beginning work in process at ilan ba yung units na bago lang na-introduce at natapos rin. So, kasi magdepende or the unit cost will differ kung ano yung method ang gagamitin natin. So, in our problem, Albany Mining Corporations, meron siyang work in process on May, which is in units is 32,000, started in production of 200,000, completed production of 184,000, and ending work in process of 48,000 units. While the completion rate ay nasa excuse, while the completion rate niya as to beginning work in process, yung materials na is nasa 60% na. Ibig sabihin daw po nun, yung beginning work in process mo, yung materials doon is natapos na yan 60% pa lang. So, definitely, meron ka pang 40% na tatapusin. As to the conversion cost na daw, 20% pa lang yung tapos. So, ibig sabihin nun, 80% pa ang kailangan para matapos yung product. As to the ending work in process na 48,000 units, sa materials, 90% na, almost done na yung materials na ginamit na matapos. As to conversion cost naman, 40% pa lang yung natapos. So, meaning 60% pa ang kailangan. So, the cost for the month were as follows. Materials, sa beginning work in process, 54,560. Incurred in May is 468,000. And then the direct labor and so on and so forth. When we compute the equivalent cost or equivalent units of production, EUP, yung equivalent units of production of EUP, when we are using FIFO method, ang mangyayari is ganito. You have to compute the EUP materials. Yung beginning work in process mo na 32,000, completion rate is 40%. So yung EUP mo for beginning work in process is 12,800. Started and finished, kasi sabi natin natapos daw is 184,000. Pero sa 184,000, part of it is 32,000 para sa beginning work in process. So therefore, yung started and finished units mo for the current month is 152,000 units lang. So, it is completed, so 100% ang completion rate niya. Sa ending work in process naman, may 48,000 ka, pero yung completion rate niya is 90%. So, therefore, kung kunin mo, ita-times mo yung EUP, makukuha mo sa yung units accounted for times yung completion rate, makukuha mo yung 12,800, 152,000, and the 43,200. So, yung total equivalent units of production is equal to 200,000 pesos under FIFO method for materials. On the other hand, for the conversion cost, EUP for conversion cost, again, ganun pa rin, 32,000 for the beginning work in process, 152,000 for the started and finished units for the current month, and the ending work in process of 48,000 units. While the conversion rate, completion rate naman is nag-vary siya depende doon sa given problem. Yung sinabi kanina na beginning work in process, 20,000, 20% lang daw. So, kailangan mo siya ng 80% para matapos yung product. Again, 100% yung started in and finished units. So, ending work in process naman, given naman siya dun sa problem, 40% lang daw yung natapos. So, again, do the math, 32,000 times 80%, that is 25,600, and then 152,000 times 100%, that is, again, 152,000 units, and then the 48,000 units na in the inventory times ending work in process times 40%, that is 19,200 units. So yung total equivalent units of production or EUP for conversion cost is 192,800 units. So ngayon nakuha na natin yung EUP, kailangan natin makuha naman yung equivalent cost per unit. Yung per unit na siya. So again, kung FIFO method, hindi natin kailangan isama yung cost ng beginning work in process. See, if we're talking about equivalent unit cost or equivalent cost per unit for materials, we need to get the cost of materials for the current period lang. So, i-exclude mo yung beginning work in process of materials. The formula is EUC is equal to current cost of materials over the total AUP. So yung cost natin for materials is 468,000 over 208,000 pesos. 208,000 units. So yung EUP natin is nasa 2.25 per unit. Again, when we are talking about EUP, EUC, equivalent cost per unit, kailangan natin is yung current cost of the materials over the EUP. Same also with the conversion cost. So yung current cost lang, yung direct cost plus the factory overhead, i-exclude po natin yung cost ng conversion ng beginning work in process related to conversion cost. Again, i-divide mo lang by the total EUP of the conversion cost. So yung total cost po natin for the current month is only 574,040 over mo ng 196,800 units. So yung EUC natin or equivalent cost per unit is nasa 2.92 pesos per unit. So, paano natin ma-compute naman yung ending work in process? So, to compute the ending work in process, using the FIFO method, again, kunin mo yung EUP and then the AUC. The EUP for materials is nasa 43,200 dito. Ito. Materials, 43,200. the 43,200. So, yan, 43,200, and then for the conversion cost is 192,200. So the unit cost equivalent cost per unit for materials is 2.25, and then for conversion cost is 2.92. So do the math, multiply dito. So yung total ending work in process natin under FIFO method is nasa 153,264. For weighted average naman. So natapos na tayo doon sa FIFO method, nasa weighted average method naman tayo. So for the AUP, considered na natin na yung materials are completed on the beginning of the period. So yan. So beginning work in process 32,000. So completion rate daw niya is 100%. So therefore yung EOP for beginning work in process is nasa 32,000 units. So started in and finished 152,000 also. So ending work in process 48,000, pero yung sinabi is 90% lang yung natapos. So therefore 43,200. So yung EUP natin under weighted average method is nasa 227,200 units. To compute the EUP for conversion cost under weighted average method, again, ganun pa rin. Do the math. So yung EUP natin is nasa 203,200 units. To compute the equivalent cost per unit under weighted average method for materials, again, yung formula natin is current cost plus the cost of the beginning work in process. Kumbaga, isasama na natin yung work in process beginning. So again, i-divide mo lang by the total unit cost or EUP under weighted average method. So that is 468,000 plus 54,560. Total nyan, i-divide mo by the 227,200. So yung cost, equivalent unit cost po natin is nasa 2.30 units. Under weighted average method for equivalent cost unit per conversion cost, formula natin again, current cost plus the cost of the beginning work in process for conversion cost, applicable for conversion cost. So do the math for all the cost. So divide by the EUP. So yung equivalent unit cost natin under conversion cost using weighted average method is 3 pesos per unit. So to compute the ending work in process under weighted average method, ganito lang din. Copy mo lang yung EUP for materials and the conversion cost kasi pareho lang yun. I-times mo dun sa EUC or the equivalent unit cost na 2.3 for materials and 3 pesos for conversion cost. So yung total niya is nasa 156,960. So again, when we talk about FIFO method, i-disregard mo yung cost ng beginning work in process in computing the equivalent unit cost, equivalent cost per unit. So again, thank you so much. I hope you learned something about our discussion. Abangan nyo ako ulit dun sa susunod natin na discussions. Thank you guys. Have a nice day.